Welcome back to the Major. Welcome back to Katowice, Poland. This time it's going to be myself, Moses, with Vince. We're going to be bringing you the action for this next match. The last best of three we have today on the B stream. Obviously, there's going to be one going on the A stream as well. We're going to be covering here Furia versus Team Spirit. It's been a pretty wild day so far, though. How are your pick'ems doing? Mine are atrocious.
Mine are in the bin, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely in the bin, flushed down the toilet.
I think this is the first Major I've done pick'ems, and it's really making me question why I decided to do that. I feel very silly.
I normally do okay. I got gold last time. The one before, I think I got silver and narrowly missed out on the gold. But yeah, this one is destined for
You have
bronze.
a weird barometer for okay, considering you lost a couple bets over there, didn't you?
I definitely did. I learned from those mistakes. So I didn't make any ridiculous, outlandish statements this time. But
yeah, kept it a little bit more measured.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad I did, by the way.
What'd you do instead of eating an actual boot? You ate a chocolate boot.
I did like...
and then you ate like some spicy, or you sprayed...
yeah, I'm really bad with spicy food. I had Carolina Reaper sauce, which destroyed me for weeks.
Yeah, that sounds painful.
Some liquid ass, which is bad as it sounds.
Oh, yeah. It's as bad as it sounds. Yep. It does sound horrible. Either way, if you guys have been tuning in all day, or if you come in late, we're going to update you on the Swiss system so far as it has panned out throughout the matches today. You can check it out here. All the wins and losses that we have. Renegades obviously up there at the top. 3-0. They're able to go through and qualify for the next stage of the Major, and their Australian brethrens have been knocked out, Greyhound Gaming. And I want to touch on that a little bit, because actually, I think both of us were pretty impressed. I was actually I was surprised at how much better Greyhound was than I thought.
Sure.
Now, they go 0-3, so it doesn't look great, but those matches they had yesterday, especially against Cloud9, a couple heartbreakers, and they're losing that 13-2 lead over Vitality as well on Nuke. So, I mean, they actually did much, much better than I expected them to. But regardless, that 1-2 group of teams is so brutal. Cloud9, Fnatic, and IP. And I mean, G2 is a big name, but we obviously have seen, it's been a little bit sketchy for them. Vegas Squadron down there as well. They can still cause an upset as they love to do.
Yeah, I mean, it is just absolutely deadly. And that is one of the downsides, I guess, of so many upsets, is you are going to have this chunk of teams. I mean, Cloud9 is a team that I think most people would have put in their top 3 or 4 teams to progress here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people put them as their 3-0 pick.
Well, especially after we just watched them a couple weeks back at E-League, making it all the way to the finals, able to push FaZe the limit, and look like they were going to actually take that whole tournament. So that's pretty surprising with kind of the level that they've come with. Yeah, some sketchy games for them. Either way, like we said, we're going to be covering Spirit versus Furia here. And Furia, I mean, there's been a lot of Brazilian teams, a lot of Brazilian players that have been really fun to watch, really cool, that have had some solid results, but we still don't know a whole lot about Furia. So we have a video for you so you guys can learn a little bit about them as well.
That is hard to explain how we feel. That's a mix of a lot of feelings. For us, it's a dream to be in the Major, to be playing this at this level with these people, with these guys we just we watch from all the way back home. So, well, it's too many thoughts.
Back from the corner, just mowing them down.
Our expectations for this tournament were like high. We knew we were coming here. We had a shot to win. We knew our opponents. We knew who we were playing against, and we knew we had a shot. But when we came here and played, we got really impressed on our game. I mean, we just win most matches with very confident. I think we performed so good on this tournament because we are performing good overall. Like out of the tournament as well, we are pretty confident to play here. And our play style is very aggressive. I think that helps us. We don't respect anybody in game, So I think this mentality, this mindset we go into the games really help us. We did not think about the Major, but we just think about the matches we're gonna have here and playing one game after one game.
That pretty much covers a lot of what we know and love about Brazilian Counter-Strike. A lot of yelling, a lot of emotion.
Passion.
Passion is the word, yeah, you can use. Yeah, I mean, that team, this is going to be fun. I actually haven't seen them play yet. I know a lot of people were pretty excited about them after the minors. And I know, obviously, we've all gotten some tweets here and there that says that we're all sleeping on Furia a little bit. They're in a tough spot, though, and so is the other team they're going up against, Team Spirit. We're going to check them out now as well.
We're not that happy because we didn't take first place. We came here for first place and we lost to Avangard, so it's a bit disappointing. We just have some struggling mental problems in game, like we're not playing our game, playing one by one. We made a lot of mistakes.
The problem is they've been split. He knows it's coming from behind though, and it's into the 1 versus 1. Young versus Perfecto, who's desperately low but hits the headshot.
But in this best of 3, we fix it all and we get our spot. So
Draw one into Bondic, so he knows they're right here. He could still do it, and he does.
it's really hard to say about our expectation right now because we just finished the game. But I think, like always, we want to be in top 8 in that major. We're gonna take a little break, few days maybe, take time with our family, and after we go into boot camp and we'll prepare for major.
On the bomb, he's got the kit for it too. Oh my, what is he doing in this round when it's overtime starting? And Young stops for Map1.
Yeah, we really want to do that, do to top 10 team in the world, and we're trying our best with that. We just want to show who we are and where we came from. So we want to show our best game.
Both of these teams going to have to struggle in a best-of-3 series if they want to continue to progress in this tournament. I don't really know, and I imagine you might be a little fuzzy. Maybe you're a little bit better on who you would consider to be the favorite in this matchup.
It is a tough one. I've seen a lot more of Spirit. I will say the two teams actually played each other just a couple of weeks ago in the We Play Lock and Low tournament.
Oh, yeah?
And it was a very close one in overpass, 19-17 in overtime.
Oh.
So Spirit won that one, just about. But they've only played each other one time. And apart from that, as you said, I'm completely on board with you. I don't know much about Furia. And I tried my best to look into demos and stuff, and there just isn't that much out there.
Yeah, which is kind of exciting in a way to not know what to expect. And I mean, if you kind of know anything about Brazilian Counter-Strike, you know there's just going to be, again, aggression. There's going to be some crazy plays, people trying to make sure that they move on. Mirage, Nuke, and Cash as the third map. That's going to be the landscape that we have for this matchup, which is going to be pretty cool, I think. Those are some pretty solid maps. Obviously, Mirage has become kind of a mainstay in series. Nuke, we're starting to see more and more, which is great. Like a lot of teams, remember that map was, people were resistant to playing that map when it came out. Now everyone's kind of coming around a little bit, it feels.
Yeah, I think Nuke is we casted it twice yesterday as well. Obviously, you're looking at outside to be one of the main linchpins, and I'd love to go into detail about Fury and what to expect from them. But again, I'm not too sure. Casaranto is the player that definitely
that's the one to keep your eye on.
Steps out.
Yeah.
To me personally, obviously, there's a storyline with him and MIBR nearly came to fruition, but not quite. And I've been told from a lot of the other guys and analysts that I've spoke to that he is like genuinely really sick. So definitely what a player to watch out for in this game. Yeah,
I did get a catch. I mean, I caught I think one game from Furia at the minor, and the person who I was trying to keep every time the camera was on him was Casaranto, and that was the one I was like, oh, gotta pay attention now. Either way, gonna be a hard task. I would love to get to Cash because that map just seems tailor-made for just an all-out brawl between two teams on it, and I think that would be a lot of fun. Regardless, the other stream is going to have NRG versus Tyloo. They're playing to move on. These teams are playing to avoid elimination. So completely different scenarios. And that's going to be a lot of added pressure onto these guys. Now, we did hear in that interview Furia just saying that they're just playing good in every kind of aspect inside the game. They're feeling good outside the game as well. And that's, I guess, a good start. But that's not going to be necessarily enough to just kind of make it through a whole best-of-3 series at the major.
Certainly not. They also mentioned that they don't really respect their opponents, which is an interesting take. It's almost like you go in there with no fear. They're coming here to express themselves. They're coming here to see how far they can get, but it suggests to me they don't have a huge amount of pressure on their own shoulders. So that could definitely bode well. I think Spirit, obviously, we talked about this yesterday when we casted them again, that they have Waylander, they have World Edit. These are seasoned veteran players that have been around for quite some time. World Edit actually played very well yesterday on Train, so I think it was an important ban to get rid of that one as soon as possible against him. But these guys, I think, coming into it will be the slight favourites as far as I'm concerned. But then again, maybe I'm speaking from a place because I just know them more.
I was going to say it's hard because you know the name so much better, so you automatically lean in that direction. But, I mean, that's going to be an interesting thing to keep track of because, you hear teams and players come in all the time and say, you know what, we play like we have no pressure on us. We don't feel that pressure. And that's like the right thing to say. but it's not always the truth. Like, no matter, even if you say that, right, in this situation, you're going to feel some level of pressure. So maybe you're just a little bit scared to take that fight in a 2-on-2 or to take that angle or try and go for an entry frag. And we'll have to see if someone's playing timid in any way. But obviously, these Brazilian teams, one of the things that's so great about watching them is when these teams start getting going, it is that screaming, it is that yelling, it is that emotion that comes out where, you know, you're almost carried by that emotion. You know, you take the decision-making out because everyone's just so hyped up and excited.
I mean, yeah, and it goes back to that sort of video that we had there when he said, oh, we're playing really well and we feel really good. It's not as if they're going to come on camera and say, yeah, actually, we've been pretty shocking. I think we're probably going to get banged out 0-3.
That would be a pretty sick interview. I would actually really enjoy that if someone came out and said that.
I would respect that a great deal, but it's not going to happen. It's the same thing in interviews. But in terms of how they've got to this point, so we can kind of touch on their results previously. So Spirit played against Ents and they played against Vega Squadron. Two legit teams. Vega have had their issues, but Ents very narrowly actually, well, I say narrow, they got wrecked off Renegades, but they've been looking pretty good recently. And then Furia lost to a Vanguard and Nip. So pretty legit teams that both teams have had to fight off against to get to this stage.
Yeah, pretty solid. Not been an easy route for either one. So this is going to be an interesting take on that. And even whoever wins this still has some more fighting to do afterwards. There is a little bit of a server issue, so we're going to get a delay. So we can kind of touch on, I know the desk covered on the other stream as well, but we can touch on our thoughts on the NRG Tyloo game as well, because those are two really fun teams that we found to watch so far in this event.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a real class match, actually. So definitely,
that's going to be a bloodbath.
Think about watching that. Get your double screen set up in place. Definitely watch both streams. So that's probably going to be a banger over on Stream A. I personally think that I would still have to go with NRG. If I go with my gut reaction, I think that Tyloo have gone above and beyond, same as Vici, the other Asian region team. But ultimately, I think NRG just have too much class. Although I did hear that, similar to what happened yesterday when Daps had a bit of a derp moment and accidentally picked Nuke, I've heard a similar thing happen in that best of 3 as well.
Yeah, I don't have all the details, but we did hear someone in passing just say, well, Daps has done it again. He's screwed up the veto. So that would be, I think that's amazing. I think that's hilarious. And people think FNS is playing 4D chess all the time. Daps coming out in an interview and being like, yeah, I screwed up the veto and we still kicked the crap out of him. That's some next level tactics. Mental warfare.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I guess to an element of it, maybe there's some showmanship coming out as well. I mean, I don't doubt that, because when they picked Nuke, I was like, I think I was physically like, what the hell? I was really, really surprised when I saw it come up, because statistically, it's not a map they typically play. But that being said, it looks like that we are about to get into the game here, Moses, between Furia and Spirit. A lot of question marks. I would imagine there's a lot of people not too sure what to expect from this matchup, and I'm just looking forward to jumping into it.
I have no idea what to expect from this matchup, and it's got me all kinds of excited. Furia and Spirit fighting to stay alive, and that is a pretty even matchup on the screen there.
Goes to show that no one really knows what to expect.
Yeah, that's the other way to put it. Either an even matchup or just no one has any idea. And those sometimes become some of the most fun Counter-Strike, because you know it's not going to be perfect CS. You know it's not going to be textbooks. You know it's not going to be fundamental. But that's where you get to have the individual shine. Some of the flair of these players really stick out. Here we go. Freeze time is over. First pistol round begins now in this best of 3 series.
Starting on the CT side, Spirit aggressively. All 5 players going to be playing that contact B strategy. But look at Furia. They've got 4 players over on this side of the map as well, one of which is Casaranto, one of the main men that we were talking before. He is going to find himself a USP frag onto Dimmer just beforehand. Vinny went ham as well. And it's looking like this blockade has been set up perfectly from Furia. And they're only going to take 1 casualty in the end, it would seem. No, maybe 2. As Yuri has also been caught, but Fury will get the first round going their way.
That is a disgusting pistol round from Furia. They just set up the blockade, and there was no way Spirit was going to get through that. Even adding in that flank up the staircase as well right at the end. Beautiful stuff. And you have to wonder if that's a read, if maybe they went through some demos and saw some tendencies of Spirit. Maybe they like to go towards that B bomb site on pistol rounds. But either way, that's a complete wipeout. 3 kills for Casaranto.
UMP straight into his hands, and no investment at all. It's going to be the straight up waterfall out of Palace, with Sotfit going elsewhere. He's going towards Underpass.
There's a real chance here, though. Able J is going to have a tough job underneath the balcony. There's the first. He's got a teammate to help him out at range, and that's what gives him the time to adjust and get a new angle on the attack. There was mid-push from Furia, so a small opportunity for Team Spirit to make it out there. But again, that kind of a waterfall, we've seen it frequently, and usually it's accompanied with one flash over that A wall to at least give maybe an extra half second or second so you can get into the bomb site.
Yeah, it's about when the players drop near Shadow. If the flashbang manages to detonate and blind the player, maybe the overwhelming Glock presence can get that first kill and things can get interesting with a bomb plant. But Team Spirit, after putting nothing into round 2, will have full AK-47s and plenty of nades to boot. Early Molotov toss down from Furia, allowing Yuri to go for the peak, and Sumda Young will be absolutely destroyed right off the bat. There are flashes though, and Yuri close range can use that smoke to his advantage. Bomb's also been dropped in a horrible spot, and Spirit are looking completely dejected. It's on Dafkos 1-on-3, but he's going to have nothing to say about this round at all.
What a crazy round. What a job by Yuri. I mean, that is desperate. He obviously gets that first kill, which is phenomenal. The smoke comes out, and he knows Team Spirit is going to press the issue and try and beat it. And he does the only thing he can do when he gets a little bit blind is push himself into that smoke, stay alive for an extra second, and come right back out and surprise, like Batman.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right,
3-0 for Furia.
Spirit right onto a couple Desert Eagles. Well, 3 in total. Gonna be a couple of nades tossed up mid, but Spirit aren't quite that far ahead just yet. Does allow Furia to get these Augs in play. Abel, Jay, and Vinny. Full house of kills and a quick fire 4-0 lead.
This might be one of the faster 4 rounds we've seen, certainly in this tournament. That is a very quick, dominant fashion Furia's got here, and they've already got a whole lot of cash built up. Only 4 kills coming out in these 4 rounds for Team Spirit. I mean, that, and it starts to, I guess, you start to get a picture painted around what we were just discussing before this match went live. If you're going to come out and say in interviews that, you know, you're playing with no pressure and you're not really going to respect your opponents and everything like that inside the server, then you don't want to be shying away from fights, and we're not seeing any of that from Furia so far. They're walking the walk.
They certainly are early stages, but my concern would come in if they are starting to get round to the last few moments of a map, and maybe even if they were in a position to win this match, would they struggle to close? Is that where the pressure starts to build? And it's like, well, hold on a second, now there is pressure on us, now we could actually feasibly win this match.
Yeah, I mean, that only applies if it's close, right? Like, if they just blow these guys out and they get up to like a 12-something lead, like 12-3 lead at halftime, that it's in itself removes a lot of pressure, so you can feel much easier in that second half. So either way, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with that one, but certainly off to a good start is Furia.
No doubts at all. Apparently we have a keyboard issue. Shouldn't take too long to fix. I feel like the keyboard is, in terms of the hierarchy of peripherals, probably the least important one.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so as well.
You can make do with a pretty beat-up keyboard.
Yeah, you could go to like a thrift store and get like a $3 keyboard from like the 90s, and it would still, well, maybe not these days. Maybe with like the sticky keys and pressing 4 keys at once and everything. Oh
yeah, I think it's Ghost keys or something. But if you went and got a 90s mouse, they would be pretty poor in Counter-Strike.
Yeah, these days the mouse has certainly advanced from my day.
The good old ball mouse. That's where it was at. That is the sound of readying up, I believe. Still in a conversation though, so I'm not sure if that is actually going to go live. One can hope.
Yeah, he's got it figured out. Maybe.
Looking at the stats for Mirage, by the way, Spirit have played it 12 times over the last 3 months. They have a 92% win rate.
Oh, really?
Not bad.
That's not bad at all. You can't complain. Obviously, this, just as a heads up, we did go back in game, but it's not live quite yet, so we'll get that restarted and figured out. But he is replacing the earbud and the noise-canceling helicopter headset.
Whereas Furia have played it 14 times and have a 64% win rate. Again, it's difficult to gauge the caliber of teams that both of them have played against. That definitely has a bearing on the statistics, but still, it goes to show both teams very happy to play Mirage. They both played it a bunch.
Yeah, they'll be comfortable on this map, which is good. And obviously, Spirit's going to need that to weather the storm of the start of this match. Even though it's a technical break and you can't actually talk to your teammates during it, you never know, the mental reset might help Spirit out just a little bit after just getting bodied to 4-0 very fast.
Well, we certainly saw that yesterday under very different circumstances with Fnatic. I definitely feel that some of it...
Is that a cow?
I think it is, yeah. A pink cow. Why not?
I wonder what that's all about. Gift from a secret admirer, perhaps?
Yeah. Bit of an interesting one. You think like a teddy bear? Maybe it would be Valentine's Day. Maybe there's something behind that as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe he just really liked the cows.
That too. Just have a creepy pink cow staring at the place. Whatever gets you off, I guess.
Maybe he likes strawberry milk. Jeez.
How is it already descended to this
yeah, you
after
were,
4 rounds?
That's one of those things where you're just like, well, I can't stop myself. I'm too far in. So, moving on swiftly. Here we go. It looks like everyone's readied up. Everyone's staring intently at the screens. Confidence in the keyboard replaced. AK's back in the hands of Team Spirit and the AWP on Davcost. No AWP yet out for the CT side. Ooh, straight into an A execute. All 5 players here, not spreading out across the map. This is just going to be pretty standard stuff. They're just going to straight go for it.
It did this before and got shut down by Yuri, but he was playing very aggressive on ramp. This time more passive positions from Abel and Art, so Yuri is nowhere to be seen on the A site.
I think the defense was expecting some kind of a mid-control to come out. They had 2 players on catwalk, and now 1 player blocked off by smoke. Art's in a really tough position.
Especially with all these Molotovs and smokes. There is no smoke on the stairs, though. That could be an issue going forward. Keeping Spirit in 2 minds is whether they should push or not. Now they're finally going to go in, and Dimmer with the opening pick is going to afford them a bomb plant. The best chance Spirit have had to get on the scoreboard. A 4-on-5 retake. Plenty of grenades, though, on the belts of Furia. Decent spray from Abel will take Dimmer off the table. The early aggressor is dead and buried, and it's down to Coldy. It very well may come down to his positioning right now. The bomb is planted for him if they need him. Sopfix also been found from Abel J's org, but Coldy's been dispatched off, and this retake is now looking all so good.
Holy hell, this was perfect from Furia. I mean, great read from Yuri, realizing that he had to check behind him, look for that mid flank, which has become a very popular play. Abel J's able to hold on to the bomb site as well as humanly possible, and that smoke on A ramp just sealed it. Those 2 players from Team Spirit just bailed out. They didn't try and get in front of it. They didn't try and spam through. And this time I think this is a tactical timeout because Spirit has been dropped cold in everything they've done in this half so far. I think that was even just, what, 1 or 2 kills that round for Spirit?
Yeah, they got in there pretty fast because of how passive the CTs were. I think it was Art was on the triple box.
Triple boxes, yeah. And I mean, that's a tough angle to hit those shots,
yeah.
Especially... You could even see he was trying to look out towards his left to see someone pushing towards connector, but there was an AWP holding that angle. So Wisely doesn't peek it, but even just peeking off to the right.
It's why in situations like that, when they play passive, you'll see a lot of people go back to the CT box instead, because in Art's position there, he couldn't even pull back because he knows there's going to be 2 or 3 eyes on him. So he basically has to stand there and hope for the best and hope that one of his teammates can maybe spray through the smoke. But here we go. Spirit have called the timeout. Going to have full guns again, of course. They've got max around lost bonus.
And they were able to, they saved 2 weapons, so they're able to drop a couple over. That's why they're so good on utility as well. Coldy down to 64. That's nice nade damage at Chunkum at A ramp. Oh, the AWP underneath the edge, and Art spots him first. Davcost surely had to have been looking for that. And this time, Furia run the same strategy, put some players on catwalk expecting that mid-control, and they get exactly what they're looking for.
What a brutal start to the round after calling a timeout. Opening couple of passages of play, you lose a player, but there's Dimmer. Another entry frag to his name. Yuri on the receiving end of the AK-47. Mid-control has been taken though, Moses.
Yeah, Yuri had a really nice play call. That was a very cool peek. I think 1 flashbang might have just been a little bit too late, which is why he gets taken down. There's a pop flash in towards the B halls. Case Serato has spotted one. SDY, some Young know exactly where he's at, so he might want to readjust, but another smoke going to come in deep. Case Serato being very patient. Team Spirit have given up that mid-control they fought for. They've rotated everyone into the B halls, and that's very early on in the round to do that. They don't have any options to fall back now.
Case Serato jumping, looking for information, and he's found it. 30 seconds to go. The flashbang on point, but so is Art's AWP. Sopfix has been put down, and now it's gone from bad to worse. 23 seconds. The bomb under control, finally picked up by Coldy, who has to make a move outside the apps. Could try planting default, but he's going to fake it instead. Oh, but Vinny still lands the headshot of his own. The bomb's gone drop once again, and Dimmer can't get it done. Spirit's woes continue.
What a job by Vinny. That is a high, that is a high pressure situation where you don't have a lot of great options of what to do next, and he manages it perfectly. That was really, really well played from him. Serato gets caught a little bit, that information, the jump, as the smoke fades. He couldn't see it until they were too close for him to get into a better position. But Furia looking good, both in terms of the initial contact and the rotations over to the other bomb sites. That retake earlier on was a thing of beauty. Here we go, deep smoke towards mid. That's going to make Davkost with the AWP a little bit worried, a little bit paranoid, and Yuri's actually going to get a position at those top mid boxes.
It's an excellent way to assume control from Furia. Spirit have tried to get a mid a couple of times.
It'll be interesting to see how they play this, because you really have kind of two options if you're Furia, and I actually like this one that they've gone with. You can either keep players in there to support him, as he did have Abel J watching underpass for him to get safely into this position, but you can only hold that for so long as that connector player. You can easily overextend as a teammate if you're trying to help out Yuri too much at top mid, so they just leave him alone. Yuri just gets to play for himself for the rest of this round.
Somewhat of a lone wolf.
Yeah, but actually, now that they've got this set up, they're kind of breaking it up. Vinny looking straight down. They have players, two of them looking at top mid. They're going to have to change that up, though. Oh, nice kill. Davkost, that's the op down, and now the B bomb site has plenty of players to defend it.
And they know it has to be B at this stage. They've got so much map presence. They're stuck in apps. So what's happening? They get almost tripping over each other at this stage, with Molotovs burning them to a crisp. Dim is down to 4, purely off grenades. And Serato is going ham, nearly picks up a third, does 88 damage to Coldy. One bullet away from death, but to be fair to Spirit, they are holding on for dear life. They've somehow whittled this down to a 2-on-2. Again, time is scarce, and they also have Abel making a move through the B apps. He's found one. Bomb drops and a second. And the flawless CT side continues.
I am very impressed by Furia so far. They forced 2 timeouts out of Team Spirit within the first 7 or 8 rounds, I should say, I guess, of this map.
And collectively, Spirit only have 12 kills in 7 rounds. That's it. Not too much impact.
I think they have, what, 1 player at 6 kills and the rest are all at 1 and 2 each?
Exactly.
It's not gone well.
That's the kind way of saying it. There's other words that were in my head, probably not viable for the stream.
At what point do you rip the cow off the monitor and say, this isn't bringing me any luck?
That point may have already passed, Moses. Abel's on 10 kills, so he's just 2 behind the entirety of Spirit put together. And it really has been that one-sided. There's been maybe 1 round where you thought they had a chance, the 2v2 situation, but other than that, Furia have just locked it down.
Ooh, missed Molotov by Serato. That could give SDY the opening he wants, but it doesn't. 2 players at top mid, 2 players over towards that A bomb site. The op. Art's gonna get a chance to warm that bad boy up. Well, he's gone. Vinny with the AUG. Holding on catwalk towards connector as well. Here's the footsteps, and that is a dangerous peek. He's got 1 out of it. He is immediately traded, but it's all right. He's got Serato pushing up on catwalk to kind of plug the hole that is created by his death. AUG is recovered, but there's still not a whole lot that can be done to win this round. Yuri's even going to find the last one in window. We talked a lot about Serato, but Yuri is having a phenomenal start to this game.
Definitely so. Has been tested a few times over on the B side. Can see there the statistics. 3 players over 100 ADR for Furia. And it's really only Dimmer that's getting close. He is the player with the bulk of their kills.
Yeah, he's going to be, he's probably starting to feel a little bit sore.
Gonna need a chiropractor.
Did you have, you tweeted out your predictions as well as I did this morning. Did you have Spirit or Furia taking this one?
Spirit. Hard Spirit. Predictions have been so kind to us, haven't they?
Yeah, and it's been a wild ride so far in this major. Serato, again, under a lot of pressure. Ooh, needed that one, but he's alone at the B bomb site, having to manage between catwalk and the halls with limited positions to be in. This is the best chance Spirit has had to get on the board.
Yeah, when you consider the weaponry and the fact they've still got 2 HEs, but of course in this 3-on-3, Art is going to break the deadlock. Looking to make moves and inroads outside of Kitchen. Able J's with him. And meanwhile, Yuri is making his presence felt momentarily on the catwalk short side. That Sophic is about to become outmaneuvered. It's Able J that actually gets him. I was thinking it was probably going to be Yuri that would be called into action to take him out. Davkos did leg him on the approach, and now he's going to run straight through the smoke. Does get the knife kill, and is somehow still alive. Taking damage from his right-hand side. Finally gets finished off, and there is a kit there. Is it going to be enough time? No, he actually did enough. The knife frag yields the round.
Oh, that is so tough. What a great clutch to have, though. I mean, both of those smokes thrown on the bomb, and it's actually the opportunity for the terrorists to get into position to be able to prevent that defuse from coming through. They just not only couldn't find him once he gets that kill, but once he jumps out. Both players throwing smokes. No one had their gun out to prevent that kind of a play. So Team Spirit steal one. But they can get reset immediately. All 5 players do fall in the end. Dima's got some extra money. Getting reset here would be so difficult for Team Spirit to handle.
That's what Furia have got to hold on to as well. Like, yeah, Spirit got around, but it was actually a bit fortunate in the end. Could have easily been a 9-0 score.
And Furia had built up a decent amount of money, and they had 8 rounds straight, remember, and they're all of a sudden very quickly out of cash, which is surprising for having won 8 in a row, and especially how dominant those 8 rounds were.
I think it was that round when they were up against Deagles and their AWPer got picked in window.
Yep.
And then Quesorato had to dig them out of the ditch from short. They lost 2 or 3 guns in that round. I think that's what's caught up with them. Obviously, it's a culmination of a bunch of rounds like that. But it is somewhat surprising. Again, just goes to show how fickle the CT economy is.
And this is an offensive side that we're seeing out of Team Spirit that doesn't involve a whole lot of defaults or picks or investigation. This is kind of just, we're just going to execute here. And this one's got me scratching my head because they have 2 players over at the B bomb site. This is a very delayed, disjointed pinch onto the A bomb site. And actually, the 2 players are going to fall back from A, but Furia hasn't rotated anywhere. This has all been to get SDY boosted in window. But Vinny, he knows exactly what's coming, and that's got to be crushing if you're Spirit.
Yeah, it was all positioning to try and get the window boost in effect, and it instantly gets denied, as will Sophic and Davkos. Vinny's on a tear. 3 kills already in the round. Not going to get a 4th. I'm sure he doesn't care about that. Furia 9-1 in the lead, and indeed the terrorists, they have been straight up broken.
That is a costly strategy just to get one person boosted up in window. That doesn't yield you any results. 9-1, there's the reset. 2 players sitting around 2,000. A couple right around 1,500, and then Demo with the most at 3,000, but you can't really invest a whole lot. The losing bonus is all gone. 3rd time out of the first half in the first 10 rounds. You don't see that every day, Vince.
Certainly not on the T side, but it goes to show how desperate this actually is.
But this is a T set that is different than what we normally see out of most of the teams that we watch on Mirage in the professional scene. There's not a whole lot of mid control. There's not a whole lot of plays being made off of mid control. In fact, the one round that Team Spirit actually had a 1-for-1 trade to gain mid control themselves, they gave it up pretty quickly and rotated back to the B bomb site.
Which for a team that's played Mirage so much, you'd expect the T side to have a little bit more in terms of options.
Yeah, this 92% win rate that they have on this map is starting to look a little bit like a head scratcher.
Well, here we go again. Another A play from Spirit. Not really an execute, just the one smoke to try and shield a potential bomb plant. That spray control is on point from Able J. He will pick up a quick fire 4K. And Furia already on 10 rounds.
Yeah, and he needed to get that. Yuri was forced back. He'd been dinked. He was around 20 HP. Couldn't really take too many fights. 10-1 in the favor of Furia.
There's not much you can necessarily add to this, but I'm going to say something here, Jason, and this is even more of a head scratcher.
I like this.
Spirit picked Mirage.
I mean, I guess you have to if you have a 92% win rate on the map, right?
It's your map, you get to pick it, and then you get banged out 10-1.
Ooh, there's a nice shot with a scout through the smoke, but there's an even better one from Yuri. He does get traded off. They now know there is investment in this round. I see the AK-47. They've heard the scout. They've taken some damage from the scout. We'll see if Team Spirit can do anything with this mid-control gap in that smoke, but Deem is aware of it. Vinny still wins out in the fight. Great job from Vinny. Actually, on an individual level, I think you have to be pretty damn pleased if you're Furia with how everyone is performing. I think everyone's had a round at some point that they could be proud of.
Yeah, it hasn't really been a strategic masterclass from Furia. It's just been superior aim and positioning. And that bodes very well when you go through onto the T side. And when I'm thinking about Nuke next, I'm really worrying for Spirit right now, I've got to say.
The nice thing for them on Nuke would be that they get to start on that CT side. We'll see if we can provide them any assistance. Able J close up. Only one smoke to utilize, and actually Team Spirit might want this to be a contact play so that no one can be cheated in the rotation. That smoke comes out late. They might try and beat it. STY is going to come through. He picks up the pace, and oh, Coldie and STY provide entries into this A bomb site. Surely a second round for Spirit, especially as Vinny couldn't make his way through the flames quick enough. It's just Serato. 1 versus 3. Got some cash if he wants to go for this, but if he doesn't get a kill soon, he might just try to beeline out connector and save the weapon. He's got Coldie coming behind him, so that possibility is diminishing as time goes on. And I think he's just going to be a free kill here for Coldie.
Mate, take the shot. I was getting nervous, like, what's he waiting for?
I was down with the knife. I'm in.
Either way, it's going to be their second round. Super aggression. Mentioning about duels, this time they actually do go the way of Spirit in a welcome change. But the economy booming for Furia. They're going to have no problems replenishing the weapons. And they will just take their time and call a timeout as well. Just
and I like that.
The ship.
I
Yeah,
know some people would be a little bit curious, maybe because they're up 10-2 and everything seems to be going so well, but you just lose a round right at the end. And I mean, if you're Furia, the entire point of this timeout is to say, listen, we've had a great half so far. Let's not drop the ball right at the end and let them get these last 3. Let's not let them get to 10-5, because that is a scoreline that is very manageable switching into the second half. Let's make sure we remain suffocating, get 13-2. No messing around when you're 0-2 in the major.
Be relentless. You know, this is an elimination match. A lot is on the line here. Take your sweet time. Make sure you get as much of an advantage as possible going into the second half. And they're going to have plenty to play with. Orgs, no huge surprise there, but they are going to have an AWP for Art once again. Spirit posturing for have a bit of mid-control. Haven't really seen much of it. Coldie, meanwhile, in Palace. Very much a pick and mix sort of composition to start things off. Now going to make a move into mid-side. Art hasn't had too much impact with the AWP thus far. It's really been his M4s that have done the work.
Well, that's part of the reason why I come to what some of what we've come to expect on Mirage is just you're just constantly smoked out as that AWPer. Especially if you're playing in window. Usually connector is smoked up as well. This time it looks like they want to get a little bit aggressive on it. Wait for that smoke to plume to provide some cover. And now we're starting to see Team Spirit utilize this mid-control that they've been able to gain. Nice combination for the Molotov to force any player hiding in ladder room out into the flashbang that was thrown.
Yuri was probing just on the ramp, decides to start to back away on the sandwich now. But again, it's not really a position that's going to see action because Spirit are on their way into B-Apps again. Not for the first time. We've seen them do this quite a few prior rounds, and it's never worked out for them. Serato close range, gonna get the double spray. Bomb's gone dropped as well. And that's the round done. There's nothing that can be remedied from that from Spirit's perspective. They waited far too long, pushed in, didn't even check the angle.
I mean, that's the thing. Most of what they've seen has been that player jump spotting right at the end. There's been a couple rounds they've gone at Serato where he's just been doing that. So when you see a player making that jump happen, Spirit automatically thinks that he's the primary defender, and they had no knowledge of that push-up.
16-3 is Able J.
Nice little bait and switch setup. Yeah, I mean, the individuals on Furia are just playing so well at the moment. I mean, on the other hand, Team Spirit hasn't done anything crazy tactically to blow you out of the water and make you think that, you know, they're not really doing anything tactically to make anyone on Furia uncomfortable, I guess is the best way to put it. They're doing some pretty simple, standard stuff. And Furia's ready for everything.
Okay, Serato very close to claiming a kill through the smoke. He is by and large by himself. Vinny playing on the short side just outside of ladder room. Okay, Serato about to get pushed, needs the help of Vinny right here, right now, but he's going to focus on his position. Dimmer with the drive-by, now Vinny can start to tap at range with the AUG. Nade not going to claim the kill fast enough to stop the bomb plant, but everything else is going the way of Furia. Sophic with a Glock of all guns. Surely no hope of getting anything done. And Furia romp on 12-2.
Yeah, I don't think they care about that plant going down whatsoever. They're fine to let it go. This is pretty astounding. This has been a great defensive half from Furia. And they're not even nearly as, you know, we talked a little bit about the craziness we saw in the video, them jumping up and cheering when they're able to qualify for this segment of the major through the minor system, obviously. They're staying calm and composed.
Absolutely. Keeping dialed in. Another reason why a timeout just a few rounds ago is important, just to steady any kind of nerves or not overblowing the energy levels. Yuri, in the meanwhile, is going to peak one too many times, and Davkost will be his demise.
I think that smoke is meant to be a little bit deeper.
We have seen that thrown previously.
By Furia.
Yeah.
I don't think he expected to get picked off at that angle, but team has traded back. So 1 for 1, Art's able to find the equalizer. He's going to stick around a connector looking towards underpass, knowing that's the likely place. Do they expect Serato to be in those B-holes there? Surely they're just saying he wouldn't do it twice.
Oh, but he would, Moses. Oh, but he will. Sumdai Young has been pummeled once again, and his stats don't make for good reading whatsoever. The same could be said for most of Spirit. Vinny's going to take the initiative, push into Palace, but Goldie flicks across to his head. Does give a bit of glimmer of hope for Spirit to maybe pick up a third on this half before it closes.
This has been an action-packed round, though. There's still 40 seconds left in a 2-on-2, and Spirit has decided to go to the other side of the map. The question becomes for Furia, do they split up? Does Art ever say to himself, you know what, I'm going to go take a peek over at the B bomb site? Now, from what we know from watching the Brazilian teams, obviously coming to mind is the MIBR guy, the cores that have been playing in LG and SK over time, they like to stick together in these scenarios. And you can see the same kind of concept here with Art and Serato, both playing at that A bomb site. That way, if they go towards A, they can work together to stop the plant, and if they go towards B, which is exactly what's happened, they can work together for the retake. Art with the AWP is going to be able to try and gather some information, may be able to find a pick if Davkost isn't cautious.
Oh, he peeks out looking at short, trying to get some information, and finds it. It's not worth the cost of his life. Oh, and Coldy not quite able to get his spray under control, and Art will pick up a 4K. And as Furia moved to a 13-2 half.
That's what I'm talking about.
Bit of BM at the end as well, but it kind of goes along what they said.
Listen, it's not BM if you have a 13-2 half. That is just that is just exactly what's supposed to happen. Domination start to finish for Furia. A nice showing in the first half of Mirage. We're going to finish this one up when we return from the break.
Intel Extreme Masters is brought to you in part by Intel, Vodafone, Acer Predator, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, HyperX, Bedway, and Pay Safeguard.
(13-2) in the favor of Furia over Team Spirit, who have a gigantic hole to climb. Coming into this match, Spirit had a 92% win rate on Mirage. It was their pick in this series. But nothing that we've seen would tell us that, you know, that's what should be happening.
Honestly, from watching this, you'd think it would be reversed. You'd think this is Furia's pick, this is their main map, this is the map they're dominant on. But it just hasn't been the case. I mean, the only thing I can really put in a kind of positive spin is that at least Spirit are on the easier side, but they've got to get this pistol. They need this pistol to give them a buffer to allow that foundation, and they're going to get charged right away. Sundai Young, close range, able to get two. There's a crossfire being established, and he decides to go for the peak, and that's going to cost him very much alongside Spirit. They had the crossfire established. I'm not sure why he peeked out there, and now Dim is in a 1-on-3. Should never have been this way. Maybe he can still salvage this round and salvage this half, but it's not looking good. And Furia pick up the second pistol.
That's a big boy round from Art. Some of the great frags coming into that bomb site. Not only was there a nice crossfire set up between the Cubby and in Dark, there was a third player there as well. That's the exact defense. That's the best defense you could have asked for if you're Team Spirit on that pistol round. And they still just get overrun. Art with 3 kills in the pistol, and he's really the one who cleared up the fight at long range and eventually over towards underneath Palace. 14-2 now, and it just seems like a matter of time before Furia is able to close this one out. Late peek with that scout in window. They already had the angle with the AK-47s. Look how fast they're pushing as well. Because that scout is forced away, no knowledge of how fast the catwalk push is coming, and actually that's a little bit of a risk for Able J. He loses his smoke and he loses a Galil. Yuri's got to keep his eyes on it. Bomb is still far back, and they're spread across the map, so there can be no commitment from Furia quite yet. That 1-for-1 trade is going to open up the possibility of Vinny just walking in towards that A bomb site and seeing what he can find.
Oof. 1D gone to Art, didn't quite catch that, but it was around ladder room, I believe. Yuri now making a move back out of mid, moving alongside Vinny, who's got a lot of information for himself out on the A side, waiting for his teammates to back him up. They do have a smoke, but don't want to give it away just yet. Sundai Young hasn't seen anything, which is why the remaining of this team, as 3 other players are still on B. They haven't rotated yet.
Oh, that timing as well, just as K-Serrado looks up the ramp. SDY fell back. And he's got to be so careful at how he chooses to peek some of these angles. It's a very fine line you have between wanting information and overextension. As Furia just walks into this bomb site, Yuri is going to stay up on Palace, you would imagine, for the post plant, for the cover of his teammates. K-Serrado's got to get the bomb down. That would be a huge kill to grab. Oh, the perfect flashbang, though. They had him commit to the fight, and then they completely blinded him, but Coldie's there to trade things back. It's a 3-on-2 in Team Spirit. They have to go for this retake, and it's a pretty decent chance.
Yuri on 8 health, so it puts him in the range of all the weapons that Spirit have, the pistols and the scout. So a lot of this could come down to K-Serrado. He's got 1, somehow shimmies away, undeterred. Has ate that grenade fully though, and now it's on him. They know where he is. K-Serrado, oh, the jumping shot from Davkost. That is disgusting. And I had to take a huge play like that to get Spirit to 3rd round.
Yeah, not only that jumping shot, which is pretty cool, but the first shot he has on the player in Palace, a direct headshot with that scout. He was only on HP, so a bit of overkill, but still a very nice sequence for Davkost to keep Spirit alive. No celebrations just yet, which makes sense. Still a long way to go. 3-14 in the favor of Furia, but that's a nice retake.
Also managed to get a couple of AKs for their troubles. Nice little bonus. It's good to see that Furia haven't made any rash decisions. They haven't forced into this themselves. They're like, okay, fair enough. You got us there. We're just going to keep with some Glocks, some upgraded pistols, and keep our economy decent for the next round. That's one way you can let Spirit back in this, if you start to give them freebie rounds and really wreck your own economy. Soptic 2 and 17 with 33 ADR. It's been a rough one, and his woes continue as he gets dinked from one of those pistols. Dimmer though, 3K with the AUG. Molotov isolates the terrorists. They can't get out there and avenge just yet. And now that the fire has swept aside and cleared, there is a tsunami of CTs waiting. And the bomb also, just to add salt in the wounds, is in a horrible spot. Nowhere near enough control.
Oh, Dima's going to go for the ace. Might as well let him try and have it in this round, but Davkos is going to steal that final kill. Dima did everything. The Molotov to split up that attack, the 3 kills with the AUG as well to make sure his teammate wouldn't fall and no bomb plant would come in. That was a huge defensive stand from him individually.
Scumbag Davkos.
It really was a scumbag move. It's like, that's the one bright spot that he's probably had this whole game.
Just jealous because Dimmer's been consistently fragging, even on the first half when they were getting annihilated. 10-round lead still.
Chasing down those stat pad kills. Here we go. Smoke in front of connector, but Yuri already has mid control, just ran the whole way down. No one's in window room to spot this boost. Art obviously can't know that, so he's going to stay inside the smoke, but when this clears, it doesn't look Davkos is really considering it a whole lot, and there's the timing as the smoke clears. Art was looking up towards the window. Nice opening kill for Davkos. That's an AK-47 that cannot be salvaged as well. Remember, Yuri's on that Mac-10.
You can see the gulf in difference too by how Furia have been approaching some of these T rounds, and Spirit very aggressive, using the Mac-10 straight in for the boost with some smokes alongside it. Way more explosive, it would seem, on their T sides. They are somewhat split up now, though. Vinny's going to try and peek out with his SG. See if he can find a pixel to execute off. He did just see Coldy hopping up. Grenade bounces off the wall ahead of him. Does do significant chunk.
Don't be fooled, we don't see this weapon too often, but it is still very, very powerful. Deep smoke in towards jungle. Vinny's made his way to Cubby. It's going to be hard to turn this corner, though. They're going to be in the open, right around the edge of the smoke. A good trade there. Just so much more to find. One on the staircase. Oh, and he pulls the bomb out too early. Yuri hasn't been able to get involved, and I think Dima's going to be so happy when he hears that Mac-10, because that's going to give him the confidence to keep swinging wider for a better angle on that fight. Okay, Serato, his turn to show off a couple things, and almost able to convert over, but the nade is going to finish him off. 5-14 now. Spirit building into this game a little bit.
I was a bit surprised that Able J went for that plant with quite a bit of time left, and his teammates weren't in position to really help him out. Maybe it was a case that because they've thrown some smokes down, they felt pressured and compelled to go for the plant while they had that wall up. But either way, Spirit have picked up their 3rd round on this half and extended to 5 rounds overall, with Furia on another eco. No grenades this time, just a few upgraded pistols. No rush shenanigans. And Davkos is going to look to push instead with his MP9. He's going to find Able J. A lot of information also gathered.
Once that kill comes out from the mid-push, it's pretty much the go signal for these players waiting at a ramp on Furia. And they're not going to get anything done. All 5 players from Spirit surviving. T-sides for both teams struggling a little bit here. Spirit has been able to keep a lot of players alive in all of these rounds, so they have a lot of cash built up, which is great if you're planning on making a comeback that you can survive some losses, because surely at some point Furia is going to be able to get a pick here and there. This looks like all 4 players are kind of aimed over towards that A bomb site. 3 are going to be dedicated. 2 heading towards mid with those mid smokes. Maybe a fast pinch towards that A bomb site.
Furia again though, quick outside, but Yuri is found by Davkos. Nice nade as well to Vinny. Peeking across, hoping that a head protrudes over the staircase.
I don't mind that Furia keeps going back to this A bomb site, because you can see there's not a whole lot of close-up pressure from the defense. So they're able to get over towards the Tetris box. That probably should have been a kill from Art. Davkos just waiting for that commitment from Vinny. But they're able to gain some real estate at the top of this A ramp. So going to keep going back to it, just saying, you know, if we're going to keep getting this every single time, at some point it's going to break in our favor. Just not at the moment. 2 on 4. Just one HE grenade left on Serato, and he's the only one alive.
You can see the rhythm. Trying to get a step ahead of the player hopping up on the CT boxes. How much damage can Serato inflict? Already taken out one. Really trying to bait these players into his crosshair. But Spirit will pick it up again with 3 players surviving. So they're getting closer and closer. But still quite some distance between the two teams.
Yeah, 14-7 now. Feels like Furia could, if they're going to, I mean, as I just mentioned, with the amount of success they're having at getting pretty safely up that A ramp because the defense is so passive, they just go for some kind of an execute and just play for the retake, right? Now, in that kind of a situation, the CT side, because you kind of, you know, blow all your utility on the hit, the CT side would have plenty of Molotovs and smokes and nades for that retake. That would make things difficult, but it seems like that could be something they could lean on. 3 players coming up in these B halls, but a strong defense being mounted so far from Team Spirit.
Just the nightmare of trying to rush B when there's Molotovs and nades landing by your feet. And so the survivors of Vinny and Serato gonna back away, see if they can maybe find a CT on their endeavor and get a primary gun in their hands. They both have Kevlar at the very least, so aim punch wouldn't be an issue at that stage. But the win conditions of this round, I'd say, rest more on Spirit making some huge failures than Furia making any huge plays.
Kills, though, are valuable, as we saw from Serato getting a couple at the end of the last round. But as you see, just with the amount of money that's built up on Team Spirit, Furia would love to be able to take some of that cash out of their hands, force some rebuys. Doesn't look like it's going to happen in this round. Serato again. LMS at this point.
Last man standing, I'm going to guess that means?
Yes. You didn't know that?
Excellent.
You've been around the block, Vince.
I have.
Expected you to know that one.
I feel like I heard it and forgot. So I was just thinking, what could it mean? We got there in the end, though, Jason. We puzzled it together.
It's usually held as an insult if like the same guy is just always the last guy.
Kind of like a beta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not. I mean, Serato obviously he's kind of like the star player of this team. So I mean, we see it frequently. Your star players usually the guys you want in those clutch situations down the stretch are able to make a move when he's got a little bit more space in 4-on-4s and 3-on-3s. But
so we were talking about this before, that no pressure, that whole mentality of we're not going to find pressure, we're just going to kind of play our own game, we're going to play at our own pace. I think if Spirit get to 14-10, 14-11, then the pressure's going to start to come in for Furia.
No, it's certainly probably starting to creep up.
Yep.
It's not like the base of the spine. It's not all the way up to your brain just yet, but you're starting to feel a little bit nervous that you've... Because the problem is, it'd be one thing if some of these rounds were close, but I mean, just like Furia had a dominant defensive side, Team Spirit, this has not seemed too difficult for them quite yet. They had, obviously, the obstacle of losing the pistol round and having to respond immediately afterwards, which they did. But once the guns have come out, they've handled everything pretty easily. Oh, that's a nice use of utility from Dima. Molotov to force out the smoke, deal a little bit of damage. They wanted to force him into the open for the AWP on Davkos, but they're going to be happy with him being only at 16 HP.
Yeah, as soon as he goes in to extinguish that smoke, you know he's still behind the boxes. Otherwise, you're going to see him move to the left or the right. So,
oh, he's dead.
Solid nade. There's the second one. Still had eyes on it from Davkos' perspective. And just that heavy nade usage through mid is going to give Spirit the advantage once again.
That's so worth it. I mean, that is a lot of utility. Molotov and 2 HEs, but got him exactly what they wanted. Able J finds his way in towards connector. 2 other players going to come join up with him. But remember, Dima's on catwalk. He can swing out wide. That Molotov would be perfect. He's able to throw it there to prevent that kind of aggression from Cat. This could turn into a pretty sketchy crossfire as the smoke clears, but that's an immediate kill. Now Dima swings wide. They know exactly where he is. Serato going to be the one watching his teammates back. Ooh, he does it perfectly, actually. Baits his teammate just right. And Coldy now under a lot of pressure.
And can't peek because of that Molotov. So the bomb will be planted. That grenade's going to do absolutely nothing, and Vinny's able to perforate through his head. AbleJ chips in for a kill, and that's it. The round's done. The mini comeback from Spirit has been well and truly derailed, and now 7 match points, or map points, pardon me, I should say. We're in best of 3s now. To Furia.
We'll see if Spirit change anything up the way they play. They still haven't gotten too aggressive. Those nades being thrown towards top mid is the most aggression we've seen out of this defense so far. Still playing far back. Coldy at ticket booth, as we've seen pretty much every single round. 15-8, Furia, just 1 round away from grabbing this first map of this series convincingly. And this is what I'm talking about. Vinny just doesn't have to worry about the fact that there's going to be anyone close. It hasn't happened yet, so he even just runs through the Molotov that's thrown down, takes a little bit of damage, but this is actually a pretty decent amount of pressure to apply early on in the round.
Yeah, it's keeping multiple Spirit players interested. It's keeping them on their tiptoes for A. They have to respect this.
Yeah, 2 players that were in connector, and even the 1 player on catwalk is kind of got to be a little bit more aggressive to help in case there's a play up connector. Team is out of position to support over towards the B bomb site, but at the same time, Furia doesn't necessarily know what they want to do quite yet. They did seem like they were lining up over in B, but they've all come back out of those halls to take mid-late.
Nade up and over with the smoke, trying to isolate Dimmer from the rest of his team, but Dimmer's able to get the kill and just can fall back. Bit of pressure has been alleviated. Sumdai Young's going to get smoked out, but that's okay as far as he's concerned. The Furia using their smokes. They've actually used all of them at this stage, and they're still stuck in mid. They haven't really got too much for it. 30 seconds also. All that remains, and Dimmer's going to find himself a second one. To make matters worse, AbleJ's just took an AWP shot, and he's dropped to 18. Tesserato at least has got 1. Oh, and a second frag as well. No third, as Sumdai Young will have him dead to rights. But with these entries, it has afforded them the chance of getting onto B. The bomb, though, is still a little while out. This is going to be cutting it so close. 5 seconds left, and AbleJ doesn't have time to plant. This round is going the way to Spirit.
Oh, and he dies there. That is a disaster. No bonus money for AbleJ. Stuck on just $100. Furia almost able to make it work. You could see some of those peaks they're taking as well. Tesserato gets those 2 kills and goes for the third over towards Market. Normally you'd say ill-advised, but with the time running down, had to try and do something to open that up, because the bomb, you're exactly right. I think it would have been able to go down in time. I think it was just a second of a buffer to make that work, but they couldn't find the frags to keep that bomb site open for business. 15-9. Team Spirit still in this. All things considered, I think if you're Team Spirit, I guess the only silver lining you can really take is that you came alive in the second half. But at the same time, in an elimination series, that's not something you want to lean on for some positive vibes.
Sure, because it shows you that your weak side is really, really poor and vulnerable and open for exploitation. Will this be the final round of the map? It's not looking likely. That nade has done so much damage to the oncoming terrorists. Completely destroyed Art and Vinny. More nades are starting to fall, but the bomb will get planted in amongst the chaos.
I mentioned this earlier. Look at the utility events. So many smokes to use for Spirit. So many flashes and HEs as well, and they've already tagged up a couple players. That HE could be deadly. Oh, that's a big-time kill from Vinny. He's peeking out a little bit wider. There is one on catwalk. Somehow he stayed out of his vision. 2, oh my god. 3 kills so quickly for Furia, and I think that might seal it. 3-on-1 scenario. Dima spins around, but Yuri gets aggressive. He started the game off hot, and he finishes it as well. That's a strong statement from Furia.
Unbelievable as well, thinking how much damage was inflicted to the terrorists before they got the bomb planted. With Vinny with a huge play with that SG.
It's part of the problems with how passive they were playing on that defense on that A bomb site. Just the constant ability for Furia to just say, you know what, we're just going to keep going back to A because we can gain so much ground. And even if you have that damage dealt, there's no one actually at the A bomb site to finish off any of those kills. So tough time for Team Spirit and Map1. That was their pick. 92% win rate heading into that match, and they just got bombed out. Next up is Nuke, and we'll get that started after the break.